Welcome, adventurers. Do you want to be good at everything? Like, seriously, literally good at everything, to a point that it's unfair. But also, you want to stab people in the back? Then you want to be a rogue. Welcome to Rebel Then King. Today, we talk about the ultimate skill monkey of Pathfinder 2nd Edition, the Rogue. A rogue is, it can be an anything-based class using literally anything except Constitution as its key ability. It is trained in simple weapons, plus the rapier, sap, short bow, and short sword. They have light armor proficiency with 8 hit points per level. And get this, they are trained into a number of skills equal to 7 plus their intelligence modifier, plus another skill that they get from their subclass. Wow. There are 5 subclasses, which are called Rackets. You have the Eldritch Trickster, the Mastermind, the Ruffian, the Scoundrel, and the Thief. So yeah, skills, a ton of skills at the beginning. Oh, and plus, they get more skills at every level, not at every other. It's why this is the go-to class if you want to be good at everything. Now, the Rogue Rackets, the subclasses, are really cool because each one allows you to either use Dexterity or to pick a different key ability score. For example, if you were going to play as a Ruffian, you can use Strength. As a Mastermind, you can use Intelligence. So you can tailor and hone in on the exact kind of rogue that you want to be. Each of the rackets also give you some pretty cool combat mechanics. The Thief, for example, allows you to apply your Dexterity, not your Strength, to damage. And I think this is the only way that can be done in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. The Mastermind will leave an enemy flat-footed to you after you recall knowledge successfully on it, and the Ruffian will allow you to sneak attack with any weapon. But we haven't talked about sneak attack yet, have we? So let's go do that. Sneak attack is the rogue's go-to combat mechanic. Pretty simply, anytime you land a strike on a flat-footed target, you deal an additional D6 damage. Now, technically, you do need to be using an agile or finesse melee weapon for this, unless, as we just said, you're the Ruffian, in which case any weapon will do. And remember, this is a target who is flat-footed for any reason. So you could be in a flanking position. You get to use sneak attack. You could have a successful feint. You could be hidden from that enemy, or maybe that enemy was hit with a bottled lightning or some other sort of debuff that left them flat-footed. All of these situations, sneak attack does apply. So you can see this combat mechanic really encourages the rogue to not be right front and center, but instead get around the flanks, use hiding, use stealth to set up those sneaky attacks. And as far as combat bonuses go, this is a pretty good one. It has sort of a double whammy built right into it. See, first of all, you want to be making flat-footed attacks as often as possible. So that's good. That will increase your chance to hit, increase your chance to crit, and then adding D6 is really not that bad. It does have some drawbacks, though. First of all, there's that agile or finesse weapon property where, again, unless you're the Ruffian, so that means you're going to be usually dealing with a lower damage die, and then also you might not be fully maxed out on strength, again, unless you're playing as a Ruffian or unless you're playing as a Thief with dexterity damage. And what I'm getting at here is your base attack, your weapon plus your strength modifier is going to lag behind a little bit. So in a way that D6 damage just catches you up to some of the other martials, but I still think it's pretty good. And then last but not least, there are kind of a lot of creatures that are immune to precision damage, so if that's the case, the rogue will struggle to keep up with damage in combat. Going hand in hand with sneak attack is surprise attack. This is another combat mechanic that applies to initiative. If, as a rogue, you use either deception or stealth for your initiative roll, and you roll higher or are higher in initiative than enemies, then those enemies are flat-footed to you. That means you can sneak attack on all of them. So again, this really encourages the rogue not to be the kicking in the door right in the center of the party, but to be hiding in the wings so that they can get that surprise attack and get that sneak attack damage in. Now, the role of the rogue in your party, well, is going to be quite a lot of things due to their skill training. They can pretty much easily be your crafter or your medicine man or whatever you need them to be. But primarily, historically, they are a carryover from the thief. In earlier games, you sort of had magic, martial, healing, and then thief. And the thief's job was to, well, sort of find things like traps and treasure. And for these reasons, you do see a lot of trap finding feats that the rogue has access to. And these are really good because, man, traps are terrible. I mean, they're fun, but they are awful as a player in Pathfinder 2nd Edition because you're just rolling around, having a great time with your pals, and then boom, you get a crossbow bolt or you fall into a pit or something, and a thief can help you out there. Or a rogue, I mean. You get what I'm saying. One role that I think that the rogue can't really play is frontline DPS fighter. You see, they are a little bit weak in terms of their armor and hit points, and again, they do really need to be around the flanks or behind or being deceptive or hidden in some way to get the best damage possible. In one of my campaigns, we really didn't have a frontline fighter for a while, and our rogue sort of filled that role. And man, that poor rogue got stabbed to death a lot. It wasn't the ideal situation for that player or for that character, and it just wasn't super effective. Later on, we got another player who joined as a barbarian character, and that is actually what made the rogue shine. Now we had a barbarian to kind of hold up the front line, allowing the rogue to get around the flanks to not be the center of attention. What it comes down to is when you have a class that really is built around being sneaky, deceptive, hiding in the wings, well, you don't want them to be right in the middle. That's just not where they're supposed to be. Well, there we have it. Pretty solid combat mechanics, varied subclasses, and skill training for days. All of this combines to make the rogue a very engaging core class of the system. And based on what I've seen, I think it is actually the most popular player choice out there. They are just complicated enough to be engaging and interesting, but simple enough for beginner players. They're really iconic, and for these reasons, I think I'm going to give them 9 out of 10 surprise stabbings from behind the curtains. But I know some people out there really don't like the rogue. Something about the overly abundant skills or maybe the deceptive and sneaky play style just sort of rubs them the wrong way. So my question to you is, are you one of the rogue haters out there? Do you not like this class? If not, let me know. Let me know why in the comments. Until then, keep pushing the rest of your party aside because you are better than them at literally anything. Just remember, when combat starts, run away, let the barbarian or the fighter or the monk do most of the work, and then pop out of the shadows, steal their glory with a well-timed dagger to the back.